as the section 3. So that's basically you're knitting like an entire skein of fingering yarn until you run out. It's not that quite, but it's a lot. Hello everyone and welcome back to the DoSo Knits YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and I'm a knitter and military spouse currently living in Germany with my family. DoSo Knits is just my little YouTube channel where I share with you how knitting and fiber has interwoven into my life. So today's video is episode 24 of the DoSo Knits podcast, where I'm just going to show you guys my knitting, things that I've finished, things that I'm working on. I'll be talking about a knit along that I am currently hosting and announce the giveaway winner from the 1-year anniversary episode, which was the last podcast episode. So before we get started, if you'd like to follow me other places, I am DoSo Knits here on YouTube, Instagram, and Ravelry. And as always, show notes are on my website, dosoknits.com, where I link to the yarns, the needles I use, the patterns as well, along with my Ravelry pages. So before we get into the knitting content, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all of the comments on the 1-year anniversary video. Seriously, seeing all the kind comments and reading how you guys have been watching for a while and how some of you have just found me and are really enjoying the content really made me smile. Every single one was amazing, and I thank you guys so much for watching and participating and just being a part of this little DoSo Knits community. Really, you guys are the reason I do this. I feel like sometimes I just talk to a camera, but when you guys comment and tell me how it's been inspiring or how you found new patterns, and it really just means a lot. So thank you so much. I did want to go ahead and do a little admin at the beginning. I wanted to announce the giveaway winner from the last episode, the 1-year giveaway. I'm giving away a little bundle of sock yarns and some other notions for knitting, and I used a random comment generator, and the winner is Jennifer SF. So Jennifer, if you could send me an email at dosoknits@gmail.com, I will get this package sent out for you. And again, thank you guys. Thank you everyone who left a comment. Seriously, they are so much fun to read, and thank you so much. The next little admin thing I want to talk about is I am currently hosting a knit along. I have recorded a video going over all the details of the knit along, and I will link it up above right here. The knit along, I'll do a little rundown of what it is. It is the DoSo Knits Clear the Needles KAL. So this knit along is running from 1 August to 15 September, and this knit along is going to be all about getting things off of your needles. It's going to be projects that were started before August, and then you just have to finish them within this time frame. So if you have things that you cast on, just haven't finished yet, if you finish it in the timeline, that works, including knitting, crocheting, and spinning. And anything eligible within that time frame is going to count that you finish and get off your needles. I'm also including if you want to frog any project. So if you have anything that you started before the knit along start, if you have anything that is on your needles that was started before August 1st that you've decided you no longer want to finish and you are just going to frog, that also counts for the knit along because you are clearing your needles. So this is more so a finish and frog along, I guess. There's more information in that video that I linked up above, but overall, if you just share on Instagram with hashtag DoSo Clear the Needles, we have my Discord channel, which is where all the chatter is going to be. If you want to talk to other people, see what other people are finishing, and just kind of chat with other people. And then the finished objects thread is going to be on Ravelry, and that is where you're going to post your entries to be entered in for prizes at the end of the knit along. So I hope you guys find this fun. I posted the video on Friday a couple of days before August started, and a lot of you seem to be like, this is exactly what you need right now. So I hope you enjoy. I hope it's fun. I need some motivation to get this stuff off my needles, because one of the reasons of inspiration was knit along is we are moving back to the United States later this year in October. So I need to clear a bunch of my needles to not have as many projects on the go when we're moving. We are moving to Colorado. I know a lot of people have asked. I haven't said it on the podcast yet, but we are moving to Colorado for my husband's job later this year. So I need to get some things clear, and that way I can have some projects that I can take with me and finish, and not have too many things arrive in Colorado once we get there that aren't finished. Or yeah, I just need to get everything clear just for the mindset of moving, and then that way I can have things with me that I can work on. So I need motivation to get these things off my needles. So I hope you guys will join me. I hope it's fun. And yeah. For more information, make sure you check out that knit along video which has all the information about the knit along. The knit along, finish along, whatever we want to call it. I think finish along is a better name for it, but I already made the thumbnail. So finish along, do so, clear the needles. All right, so now that I have rambled on a bit, let's go ahead and dive into some knitting. So I have finished some things. I am surprised because as of yesterday, I only had one finished object to share with you, and now I have 3. 2 of those things were finished yesterday, for sure. So the first finished object I have to show you guys are my July Desert Vista Dye Works socks. So I knit these for the Desert Vista Dye Works year-long knit along. I did just a vanilla sock. I did 15 rounds of a 1x1 rib, and then 2 color repeats for the leg. I did my German short row heel with modified heel flap adjustment. I do about 8 rounds for that, and then almost 2 color repeats for the foot. I started my toe on this yellow stripe and then did a round toe. I used the Summer Sock Camp 2021 colorway, and I love the pastel colors of this. I think it is a lot of fun, and these definitely flew off the needles. I love them. I definitely have a good chunk left of the skein, so I will be probably making a pair of shorties out of the remainder because I love this colorway. Yeah, not a whole lot to say, just 56 stitches, and I used my 9-inch circulars, a 2mm needle. The next socks I ended up finishing were some shorties for my husband. So I knit these out of Knit Pick Static in the colorway Peppercorn. For his socks, I did a 1x1 rib. I did about 10 rounds, and then I did 10 rounds for the leg before doing a German short row heel, and then I knit the leg to about 2 inches less than the total length of his foot, and then did a round toe as well. I did not try to match these because the color repeat is kind of hard to find overall, but they're pretty close because you can see this section that I'm pointing to with my nose. You can see this big like color block kind of pepper section. They're very close. You can kind of see in the heel where they're not the same, but they're very similar, which kind of was serendipitous because I did not try. I basically finished the first sock and then cast on the second one without really trying to match the colors because it's kind of hard to see it. But yeah, I think these are a lot of fun. I bought this yarn initially to make socks for him, and it's just been in my stash for about 6 months without making them for him. So I cast them on because I needed some shorties for on the go. And yeah, because I had finished my Desert Vista Dye Works ones, and so I need another pair of vanilla socks. And his socks, I do 60 stitches, so a little bit longer than mine because I use 56, so his take a little bit longer. But overall, I only used 41 grams of the yarn to make these. So I have a good amount left. And yeah, 9-inch circulars as always. And I really like how these turned out. And I think they're going to be very good as a part of his sock drawer. He keeps asking for a ton of shorties for the summertime because he hasn't been wearing his long ones because he's been wearing shorts. So I am obliging and adding a couple more short socks to his sock drawer. Yeah, so Shane's Peppercorn socks. Dunzo. All right, and then the final socks I finished, I literally finished these at like 10:30 last night, which is cutting it close for the end of the month, but I did it. So these are some DK weight vanilla socks. I do the pattern layouts for Kay of Crazy Sock Lady. And I saw that she posted about these DK socks, and I commented saying, hey, I'll knit the small size because that's the size I normally wear. So I was lucky I did the pattern layout for her, and I knit the smallest size of her DK weight socks before the pattern released. These are so addicting. I cannot tell you how quick and satisfying DK weight socks are. Like, they are absolutely amazing. So for these, I completely followed her pattern. I did not change anything. The cuff is a 2x2 rib, and then there's 30 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel flap, and then for my foot, I did 48 rounds before starting the wedge toe. For these, I held 2 colors together. I did scraps. So these are both colors from my painting bricks. They're Cascade Heritage Solids. They are cerulean and jade were the colors. So the cerulean is the darker blue, and the jade is the lighter greeny teal shade. I am obsessed with how marling on socks looks. I love how thick these feel. I had taken them to work a couple days this week, and I took them to a local knit night, and I let a couple people like feel them, and they were like, oh, these are nice. They're like nice and thick, and I love them so much. And the first sock I knit in less than 36 hours. I had started in the morning. Let me see, when did I start? I had cast on in the evening, was able to do like a good chunk of the leg, and then I did the heel flap and leg like the entire next day, and then the following morning I had to do the toe. So it was a little longer than 24 hours, but if I had started them a little earlier that first evening, I would have finished in less than 24 hours. But I love them. Absolutely cannot recommend. The pattern is free on Ravelry, so I cannot suggest it more. Like, go check it out. It is amazing. I did the 56 stitch count and a US 3, 9 circular needles. And then for these, I did 83 grams. So the smallest size, I did 83 grams. So you need about 42 grams of scrap to do a pair of DK weight socks per sock, per color. 42 grams per color if you want matching socks. If you don't want matching socks, you can do even scrappier. But I think this is going to be a staple on my needles because I love how they feel, and I love how the marling knits up. I think it just looks amazing. So yeah, that's the last finished object for this episode. Alrighty, so those are all the finished things from the last couple weeks. So now we can move on to what I am currently working on. And a lot of these things I'm going to try and finish for my knit along because they need to get off my needles, and I'm going to clear them off. And I'm going to try really hard to not cast on new things, which is, I think a lot of us probably say that, and I don't know how well that happens, but I need you guys to motivate me. So the first thing I have to show you is I have finished one of my Sprinkler Days socks. by Hoga Canyon. So these are a patterned shorty sock, and I have finished my first one. So here it is. I love this so much. I just haven't, the patterned socks, I just have some other big projects that I'm working on, so they usually they've just been getting pushed to the side. And I really need to finish these because I want more shorty socks and I love how they look. But I am doing a size 56 stitches, so the smallest size, and I'm actually using 2 circulars for these. So it is a 2.25 millimeter needle, and this is what they look like so far. I've done a 1x1 rib, and this is Stress Knit's favorite in Ice King. And then the main color is a Homespun House's Plump Merino on Half-Blood prints. And I've mentioned it in a couple episodes back. I do not support J.K. Rowling and the comments she has been making, but I do support yarn dyers that are grabbing inspiration from the Harry Potter universe and fandom, and I think those two things can be separate. So these are a Harry Potter inspired colorway, but I think they just go so perfectly together. I think they are meant to go together because of those little pops, those little orangey pops in both just make them perfect together. And I love them, and I love the colors. I did modify the cuff a bit. You're supposed to use the main color and then the contrast color and then the main color for the foot along with the toe, but I just did the whole cuff in the contrast color and I love it. And I love this little pearl detail on the socks. I think it is amazing, and the patterning is so cute. So I finished the first one, and when I finished the first one, I immediately cast on the second one, and literally that's about all I did. I've cast on the second one and done a total of 1 row. That's all I've done. I need to work on these more. I think the problem is I have some other bigger projects that I need to get done. So as long as I finish these by the end of summer sock camp, that's the goal. Finish these by the end of summer sock camp because this is my entry into the wild card cabin. I did them on 2 circulars and I really enjoy it for the patterning. And then these are living in my Mountain State Stitches small mountain bag. And I love that the bag and the socks, they match together. I love it. So those are those. I have a half finished object for the week. And I love them. And I want them on my feet so bad. Okay. I need to work on those more. I think the problem sometimes with putting things in project bags is you can just close it up and then you don't see what's in there. And you don't physically see it and be like, oh yeah, I do really love those. I need to work on those. But I love compartmentalizing all my things in project bags, and then they're easy to take on the go when you need to. Okay, enough blabbering about that. I have another half finished object. The next thing I have to show you are my Dreaming of Paris socks by Hoki Locatelli. I have also finished the first one of these. So here they are. I am knitting these out of Mandy's Makey's Share a Pair. I'm sharing it with my friend Courtney. It's from a couple months ago. It is the colors Color Smash and Riesling. And I love how they've kind of knit up together. I think it is really fun. So this little stitch marker from Simply Serving, little hot chocolate, is where I was the last time. So you do the cuff as in one color and then switch to the other color for the lace. You alternate striping down the foot and the leg. You do a heel flap. I actually did a garter ridge. I'm not sure what the pattern calls for. I just kind of did a heel flap that I know. So I did a garter ridge heel flap and then down, and then I did a round toe as well in the green color. So I helical knit the colors, so I didn't switch at the beginning of the round. I just switched by helical knitting, and I really like how they knit up. I like that it's like stripy, but they're blended stripes. It's not like super contrasted. I really love working with this yarn as well. It is super soft and plump, and it's been such a pleasure to work with. And I'm definitely going to have enough to do 2 complete tall socks, because you get 50 grams of each color, and I have more than 25 left. So this is how much I have done on the second one. So I've cast on and started the cuff, and I've not finished the cuff. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm living. And so these are the 2 colors separate. These ones, once I get past the cuff and then the lace chart here, they're pretty easy for on the go because it's just a vanilla sock the rest of the way, just helical knitting them. So I think my goal is to get past this so I can take them on the go with me. But they feel so nice. I love holding them. So yeah, I have finished 1 sock of that. So now we can move on to the bigger projects that have taken a bit more time. I have gotten a good chunk done on my Vertices Unite. So Vertices Unite is a pattern by Stephen West. It uses 5 fingering weight skeins in 5 different colors, and I'm knitting these on my US 4s 3.5 millimeters Chow Goo. Last time I showed it to you, I was still on section 1. Wow, I was still on section 1. So this is where I was last time, where this little fox was. So I was able to knit this whole rest of this section. And then I also knit section 2, which is this little, call it my Oreo section. I love it so much. So that's my Oreo section. This section actually feels very fast because each row gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So that is a lot of fun. And then I have also done section 3, which is this giant rectangle of yellow. And this took a good chunk of time. This was a lot of 2 weeks. It almost uses an entire skein of yarn when you do it. And I just started section 4 last night, which I'm doing in this white color. This section is also going to be nice because every row gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So yeah, I have put in a lot of time into this, and it is why some of my sock whips haven't gotten done. Mostly only vanilla socks. Oh, isn't it beautiful? So I can tell you the colors that I am using. For section 1, I have 2 colors. There is an orange, which is Power Station by Urban Pearl, the Urban Pearl. And then the color it is striping with is Wapiti by Teton Yarn Company. Everything is from the Urban Pearl except for the Wapiti from Teton Yarn Company. So everything else is the Urban Pearl. This section, the white is Urban Haze, and the dark brown is Urban Night. And then the yellow is Celtic Haze. And this is the only section it is used in, which is good because I only have a little bit left. I am keeping all of this in my Mountain State Stitches, her larger bag, my little bees. So this is all that I have left of Celtic Haze. Oh, there we go. This is all that I have left of Celtic Haze. So I'm very excited. I feel very close to finishing this. And part of me wants to push through and finish this and then work more on the next project I'm about to show you. But part of me wants to work. I don't know. I want to work on both of them in tandem at the same time. I don't know. So for section 4, it's going to be this white section by itself. which I think is really fun. And then for section 5, you stripe 2 colors together. So I am going to stripe Wapiti and Urbanite. So it's going to be like a nice brown section. And then section 6 is like another pop of color by itself. So I'm doing Power Station in section 6 all by itself because this is my favorite color from the entire set. And so I'm glad it's in section 1 and then a section 6 by itself. And they all fit really nicely in this bag. And then the little fox that I showed you, this is a stitch marker from Simply Serving. And I think the fox matches really well with the vibe of the whole thing. I had finished section 3 at my knit night on Thursday night, and then I just put the whole shawl in the 3 sections because I'm so ready to wear this. I think it's going to be a perfect addition for fall. And I'm glad I have fall colors going on. So yeah, I feel very close to finishing this because the last 3 sections are nowhere near as big. The last 2 sections are nowhere near as big as the section 3. So that's basically you're knitting like an entire skein of fingering yarn until you run out. It's not that quite, but it's a lot. So the shorter sections are going to feel like they're going to feel like a breeze. I'm trying to finish that for the Hustlers Unite KAL and the Needles at the Ready Let's Hear for the Boys knit along. I do not know if I will finish it for the Hustlers Unite, but I might finish it for the Needles at the Ready. So now we can move on to the last work in progress that I have. So I am test knitting a sweater for Samantha Gurin. This is my second sweater I'm test knitting for her. I saw this on Instagram and immediately fell in love. And even with all the stress of moving and the timeline, I was like, I have to do this sweater. So I applied to test knit. Very lucky to have been chosen. I'm so excited. I swatched last weekend and I'll show you. So I did a steeked swatch with my initial colors and my gauge was off a lot. I used my Chow Goose to swatch initially and I have too many stitches in here, and I had already gone up a needle size. So I did another swatch, but also when I did this, I wasn't a huge fan of how the colors are playing together. This is showing up a lot better on camera than I feel like in person it kind of blends. But also like this blue here is kind of fading into the gray. So I did a little poll on Ravel on Instagram. I did a poll on Instagram to see if people thought I should switch this little white and the gray, and that seemed to be the overall consensus. So I did that, and I already had the gray, a sweater's quantity, so I had only ordered the contrast colors from Knit Picks. These are all Wool of the Andes. I'll tell you a little bit more when I get there. So I already had the gray, had only ordered the contrast colors. So I'd already started the test knit a little late because of that. And then I switched colors. So I had to order a sweater's quantity worth of the Dove Heather, which is the white. And then I ordered a different contrast color too because I just don't like how the gray is playing with the other colors. So then I had to wait for more yarn to come, and it took so long. So with the Dove Heather that I had, I did the cast on through the short rows. Basically, it's like 10 rounds before the color work starts, and then I had to wait for it to come in. But before I cast it on, I guess I should say, I swatched again with the Dove. I switched to my Lena Grossa wooden needles, which is the same as the Knit Pick Symphony ones, or the Knit Pro Symphonies, and it uses the same cords as the Knit Picks wooden needles. So I swatched again, and did a size up because I was so tight with the metal, and then I did the size called for in the pattern, and both of these were still too loose. So then I did another swatch, one needle size down from what's in the pattern, and actually hit gauge. So 3 swatches later, I was actually able to cast on my sweater. And this is living in a giant 31 bag because I'm out of sweater bags. So I had to put it in this. So I will show you the colors I'm using. So my main color is Dove Heather. I'm almost out of this skein. My first color is Midnight Heather. And then color 2 is Fjord Heather, which is this blue, and then this final contrast is Baltic Heather. So these are what the blues look like together. These are the 3 blues together. So these 2 will play together a lot, and then this one kind of stands out by itself. And I was able to start some color working last night, and I really like how the colors go together. So, sorry, I gotta bring some more yarn over. So this is what I've done so far. So my Dove Heather is the background, the Midnight, and then the Fjord. I really like using this super like saturated black that's contrasted, and then the Fjord is kind of like another light background light color so far. So I've done one of the sections of the repeat. I am knitting the size 44-inch bust, which is going to give me about 5 inches of positive ease. I might need a little extra yoke length, but I can kind of play with that as I work the color work section, and once that's done I can kind of measure. I can add a few rounds before the sleeves divide. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. The wooden needles have been a dream to work with, and I'm using the non-superwash wool, the Andes, so it makes it super affordable. Each ball is only like $3, $3.50 I think. Super amazing. I am really enjoying the wooden needles. These are actually Knit Pro Symphonies because my Elena Grossa's, I think I needed an extra pair, 4mm. So that is what I am working on, how far I've gotten. So I have a deadline because of test knit, which is why I want to work on it so much. And because color work is kind of addicting, but I also want to finish my Vertices Unite, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But I wanted to talk about when I do color work, I use a knitting thimble. So I use this in my left hand because I knit continental. And so you put your contrast color in the one closest to you, and then your main color in the one farthest away. And when it holds the yarn, it holds both the yarns kind of taut, and then I can just pick the color that I need when I knit. And I have found this to be my preferred way to do color work. I'm not good at knitting with my right hand, and the throwing, I kind of have to like use an elbow type motion, so this makes it very easy to just be like, it doesn't feel like it changes how I normally knit, other than instead of the yarn going around my physical hand, it's going into this little metal contraption. I got these on Amazon for very, very cheap. So the pack that I ordered on Amazon is very cheap. It came with 4 of these. It came with 2 smalls and 2 larges. So the large is way too big for my hand, so I just kind of have it to give to someone if they need one. I think I gave one to a friend already, so I only have one left. But yeah, I am really loving that. Wild Joy by Samantha Gurin is going to be a wonderful sweater. I'm excited to actually have like a worsted weight sweater in my wardrobe because right now I do not have one. I've knit like a worsted cardigan for myself and a worsted sweater for my husband, but I do not have like a worsted sweater for me yet. Nor do I have a colorwork sweater, so I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I love it so much. I love how it looks and I just want it done. I just want to do it myself. Yay. Okay. So with that, those are all my works in progress, all my finished objects that I have. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. So the last 2 weeks, I don't think a lot has really happened. Last 2 weeks we've done a lot of hanging out, just kind of knitting on the weekends, going to work. And yeah, the most exciting thing this weekend is we are dog sitting another pup with us for the weekend. And yeah, we are planning on going on a vacation to Ireland this coming week. So we're going for a week. They have just lifted travel restrictions for tourists. And we are vaccinated, so we are good to go. We are excited. Yeah, I'm planning to cast on some socks there. Gonna visit some yarn stores and just kind of have a relaxing kind of vacation. I'm planning to hopefully record a little bit of that and yeah, get a lot of knitting done. I'm planning to take my sweater with me and some socks as well on the trip. So that's the biggest thing that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. I've still been listening to Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness for the second book in the Discovery of Witches trilogy. And I've also started reading a physical book. I'm reading a physical book, which is crazy. It is called The Soulmate Equation, and it has totally sucked me in. I love it so much. It's kind of like a romance. No, it's definitely a romance novel, but kind of like a modern romance. It's about a like dating company that uses genetics to match people up in your genomes. It's just really fun. It's been a good light read to read at night before bed because I've been trying to not use my phone an hour before bedtime. But the problem with this book is every time I start reading, normally I'm tired, but then I get into the book and I read for way longer than I need to be reading. So I don't know if it's helping at all with my sleep, but I am really enjoying the book. And yeah, for goals for the next podcast episode, my goal is to really just finish what's on my needles right now. The only new thing I'm planning to cast on are my August Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I'm using a Ireland themed yarn for that because it feels applicable because we're going to Ireland. But other than that, I'm not starting anything else. I'm going to finish things and I'm going to frog things. And that is the goal for August. I'll probably start DK weight socks too, which is fine. But yeah, that is all that I have. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know this one was a little longer than normal. I just felt very chatty today. But let me know what you're working on. Are you going to be participating in the KAL? Make sure you leave a comment down below if you'd like to tell me what you're working on. If you like the video, do a nice thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, you can to be notified when I post future episodes. And it's a free way to help support the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're putting a little bit of love into every stitch of your knitting, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye! An inch to about an inch, 2 inches less than the length. So the cuff Sherlock has a big itch.